Today we're going to do a simulation. We're going to imagine we're in a company run as a PMO running the strategic initiatives of the company, and we got a monthly meeting to manage. So what we'll do is we're going to do a couple simulation exercises, and we're going to assign some tasks to some people, and you're going to see how tasks coming from a meeting agenda can be communicated through what we call our Task Connect two-way feedback hub. And that's why we have Geneva-based Stuart Rigby on the line, who is also a PMO expert, and he's graciously offered his service as a guest panelist today to actually get some information from the software and communicate with us. Hopefully everything works. So at the end of that, we'll have a Q&A for anybody that's interested. Public service announcement. My colleague on the line, Chris Willard, in 16 October, he will be hosting his own webinar, and I'll be running the gatekeeper, running the guest list, but he'll be actually doing the presentation on Hoshinkanri and PMO task management strategy deployment. Chris, did you want to add anything before we
No. Just going to use the opportunity to give an overview of how we use Presto with various clients for PMO and Hoshinkanri. So please feel free to join if you'd like to. Like to see you.
Today's webinar is going to be recorded, and when we send it to you, there'll be a link in the email, so you can actually sign up for the webinar already, because it's on the 16th of October. Okay, so a quick overview of the software for those of you that aren't familiar with Presto. Basically, what Presto gives you as a business leader, it gives you top-down visibility. Presto is a governance solution, whether you're governing change activities, fix the company activities, whether you're managing performance, process waste. It's all a top-down visibility, and then giving you the opportunity to zoom in, to drill into the level of detail, the level of granularity that you need to get your company working. So to give you that, Presto's built on the organizational structure of the company. And that's why I like that quote from Steve Jobs, where he's saying sometimes the best way to come up with good ideas and to improve processes is to just organize yourself a little bit different. So today we're going to look at this Swiss toy manufacturing company, DuPont Toys. Based on a real company. We've changed the name, we've changed the logo, but these are real processes. This is a real organizational structure. And you can see when Samuel, the CEO of DuPont, is looking at his company, he's looking down and he can see who his direct reports are. He can see that each direct report's span of control. So what does that mean? It means how many sub-teams do they have underneath them? How many functions, how many processes are they responsible for? You can see how many people are in those teams, and you can see what their processes are. And what you're going to start noticing as you see the solution, for those of you that don't already use it, when you're on the dashboard, you're clicking on those numbers and you can see who those 29 people are in this department, what those 26 processes are in the engineering team. And this is why you're getting this top-down view of your company. And what you're really doing is you're digitizing your company. So before you have to fly out to Freiburg to meet the engineering team and talk about their 26 processes, you can actually have a look at those just by using the software. You can have a look at those 13 people, have a look at what they're working on, and get yourself prepared so that when you meet with Mario, you're actually having problem-solving discussions that are focused on making the company better instead of administrative-like discussions trying to catch up. And that's what digital transformation is all about, especially in manufacturing, where you're embracing Industry 4.0 technology to really get yourself out of that offline situation that most companies are still in. So from the dashboard, here we are looking down, and you can see we have a team here, we have people, we have processes, and what you're looking at now, you're actually looking at the PDCA dashboard, and you can see activities. You can see how many activities have been acknowledged on these teams, how many activities are still being planned, how many activities are being done, how many activities are being reviewed or checked, and how many activities have been completed. And now you take it to the next step. We've done something. What are we going to do with that? How many times do you do it? Does a job get done, a project gets done, and then at the end, when something very important is supposed to happen, people kind of disappear, and that taking it to the next level doesn't happen to the way you want it to. So what you see here is you're using the PDCA cycle And as an example, you can see if you want to know what's going on the website management team, that's one of our programmers, that's Deepa. You can open that up and you can see how many activities she has, what phase they are in the PDCA cycle. You can see it just by looking at the colors. Anything blue is completed, anything green is on track, and then of course you got the yellows and the reds telling you be careful, you have project risk, something may not be going the way you want. So why is it important to use PDCA? It's important because it allows you to understand what level of management needs to be involved in the moment you're actually working. So when you're acknowledging activities, a lot of times it's the director saying, we're going to do something, and you're bringing it to the company. At that point in time, you bring in your team leaders to say, okay, we're going to do this, but now we really need to plan it. Who's going to do this? How are they going to do it? When are they going to do it? And then once the planning's done, you're in the do phase, and that's where your staff is working their magic. You have your team leaders and your directors who have given them all they need to do their jobs, the time, the resources, the team, and they're getting the things done. But of course, once things are done, you want to make sure that things are done right. And what that means is you're checking, you're reviewing, and that's where team leaders come in and sign off. They give their blessing and say the work has been done properly. And then finally, you got the directors saying, okay, these things were done, we've invested in this, now let's take it to the next level. If the job was to produce a new marketing campaign, a new brochure, when that brochure is finally created, well, the next thing to do is to make sure you use that brochure, get it in the hands of the right people, pass it off to your top sales team so that they're out there making sure that you get the most from the good quality work that the marketing team already did. So just as an example. So I'm going to jump onto the dashboard now. Hopefully everybody's still with us. So here we are now on the dashboard. So you can see there's Samuel. He's responsible for 140 people in the company. He's responsible for 220 processes. When you click on anybody, you have the possibility to open up the team. You can see information about their team, their processes, their roles. You can start navigating around the company. If I want to know what's going on in the sales team, for example, I'm going to go take a look at Clotilde. She's responsible for 12 teams, 50 total people. And if you want to jump to her dashboard, you can click and you go straight to Clotilde's dashboard. Now, when Clotilde logs into Presto, this is as high as she goes. She sees her team, 50 people, 84 processes. But what she can't do, unless you're training her to take over for Samuel, what she can't do, she can't get herself to this level. So just to give you an idea on the utility of having this top-down view that allows you to zoom in and zoom out. So taking that to the next level, let's talk about meeting management. That's what we're here for today. So a couple funny quotes I wanted to just go through, and I wanted to challenge you today. When you see the demo, think about these quotes and try to connect where these funny problems that everybody's pretty familiar with are going to be solved by using the solution. So a meeting is an event where minutes are taken and hours are wasted. So that's one of the key things using this solution you're going to notice immediately is that you're really going to stop wasting time in administrative type activities. People are going to start being more focused on when they need to act and how they're going to do it, and how that information gets collected and absorbed and retained without being lost. Meetings are indispensable when you don't want to do anything. So that's a funny quote. Think about that as we're talking about not just managing all your meetings, but managing the right amount of meetings. Because once you start putting structure into this, you can then start to say, you're then in a better position to say if a meeting is necessary or not. And you do that by running a tight ship with your agenda. And then when your agenda starts bearing fruit, then that's great. If it's not, then you realize, well, perhaps this meeting is not exactly necessary. And finally, the least productive people are usually the ones who are most in favor of having a meeting. So I think everybody has seen that type of situation. So again, keep in mind, losing time in meetings, frustration in meetings, it's a common problem. I've seen it all over the place in companies of all sizes, in every country I've ever been to. So today, what we're going to do, we're going to set up meetings, and then we're going to do a couple of exercises where we're going to use our Task Connect two-way feedback bridge to reach out to the people that are responsible to feed to your agenda, to comment, to help you get the meeting minutes out in the right time by connecting with them with the Presto dashboard. And what you're going to do is you're going to be able to push messages to people. And again, Stuart's on the line. He's going to be one of our panelists telling us how the interface is working. So starting from the meeting board, recurring meetings, new feature cheat sheet. So this is just coming from a cheat sheet that I was using with a client, explaining to them how to access the new feature. So you can see on your meetings, on your PDCA dashboard, we have a new filter that allows you to zoom into your meetings. And when you zoom into them, you can now track meetings and action items from the Presto dashboard. And you do so by categorizing your meetings into meeting types. So these are our suggested types of meetings in a company, but based on your company, you may have some deviation. So this is a standard. I think this works with small companies, big companies, especially in services, but I do believe it could work well for manufacturing as well. You can see we got Gemba walks over here. But starting at the top, you get team meetings, you got PMO governance meetings, client stakeholder meetings, performance review, coaching and mentoring. So that's any meeting where you're having a one-on-one with somebody to talk about personal performance. Definitely merits its own category. Training and workshops, leadership and executive meetings, Gemba walks and operational gatherings, and then we got ad hoc other meetings. In the event we have some meeting that just doesn't fall into these categories. Keep in mind this, once again, it's customizable. If you feel like we're missing something here, if you want to challenge us, keep it, make a mental note and bring it up at the end of the webinar, because I'll definitely be interested in hearing your opinion. So you're filtering your dashboard by meeting types. And as soon as you do that, you're then able to open up the tasks that are on your task list by the meeting. So and what this meeting report gives you, it lists all, at the top of the report, it lists all agendas that are open. In other words, meetings that maybe have been done, maybe they've been held, but they still haven't been closed out. In other words, they're still in the review, in the act phase, as well as meetings that are upcoming. And that's what we'll do today. We'll take a look at a meeting that we want to close, and we'll book a new meeting for the next week, a recurring monthly meeting. So at the top, you got your agendas. And of course, if you click on those agendas, you're going to go in and you're going to see the task list. You're going to see the administrative steps that are taken to manage that meeting agenda. And you're also going to see any documents that are part of that meeting agenda. And what we're going to do, we're going to start sending tasks through our Task Connect two-way feedback bridge with the documents linked, so people can actually access those documents just by clicking on a link and giving the feedback or doing whatever they need to do. And then, of course, at the bottom of this page, these are all open action items that come out of the meeting. And your goal, and I know this now from being a semi-PMO working with my clients, where I meet them once every 2 weeks in a 90-minute call just to go over their dashboard. And what happens is, while I'm doing that, I realize the best value I can give my clients is to come up with as many takeaways in those meetings as possible. Now, everybody knows you don't always do those takeaways, but as you're putting those takeaways on the dashboard, that becomes a portfolio of opportunity. And of course, if you're disciplined and if you use the software correctly, you make sure that you don't close any of those until the right person in the PDCA cycle closes it. So if you come up with what seems like a good idea 1 week, and then 2 weeks later nobody's doing anything, well, before you close it, you're going to make sure that the boss of the director of the group says, yeah, do you want us to close this? You originally wanted it on there. So you're forcing people to be accountable for the commitments they're making. And that's what this gives you. And I noticed the more ideas you can come up with, the more action items you can put on your dashboard, the more value you offer as a PMO. And of course, obviously, if you're working as a team, as a PMO, those action items get agreed together. And of course, you might have 10 people in the room. All of them will say it's a great idea. 3 weeks later, nothing's been done. So, but at the end of the day, okay, but you all thought it was a good idea. So that obviously allows you to bring different challenges to light. But again, as a PMO, you're organized, your meeting's organized, and it's always going to be clear when and where you've identified opportunities. So you can see at the top, you got your agendas. At the bottom, you got your open action items. And what you can do, you can actually push this. What you see here, you can just click this button and it push a PDF report directly to anybody that's in these meetings, and you can select who you want, and that report's going there. So this becomes a task list. It becomes a takeaway list for the people that are in the meeting cycle that you're managing. So what else are you getting from this dashboard? Well, you can also zoom into your agenda, so you can see here whether the agenda is opened or closed. And when I say closed, I'm talking about archived. You still have all your agendas here at your fingertips. So if I want to say in week 1, what did we talk about? I'm just going to click on that, and it's going to open up a meeting task list. It's also telling you how many documents, how many attachments are in there. So this is great for somebody that's just coming into the team now, and you want them to catch up what happened in the last 6 months. It's great for a director who moves from one department to the next, and he's getting to know his team, he's getting to know what they do, and he wants to just spend some time looking at the historical activities that took place. Again, you're digitizing everything you do, and you're making it available to your company so that your knowledge loss or knowledge retention rate is as high as it can be. So what you'll see now, we're going to actually go take a look at this from our dashboard, and you're going into your agenda and you're accessing the documents that are in there. In this case here, you have meeting minutes that are in Microsoft Word format, and you also have a Zoom video recording. So you're telling anybody, and we use this all the time. People aren't in, we say, yep, last week, here's the minutes from last week's meetings. Here are the 2 Zooms that we had. You were out on holiday. Please have a look at those trainings that we did before I close the meeting, before I close the agenda. And that's a great way to keep people accountable, keep people focused on where there's knowledge that needs to be absorbed, and in potential to lose it if you're not being diligent. So what are you doing with all that? There's an example of a task list, an action plan in a meeting, and what you can do, you can click that push button, and that's what we're going to do today. You send a push to people that are in your meetings to have a look at those tasks and give comments, give feedback. And what you want to do is you want to be detailed enough so when you send somebody a push, they're going to see the actual activity that you're tracking, and all you're asking them to do. Now, this is one thing to make a note of. Unlike, and if you came into this demo thinking this is just a project management solution, you're going to have, obviously you're learning that it's not exactly pushing the typical project management principles, because what you're doing here is you're making the PMO, you're making the team leaders, the more senior mid-level managers accountable for absorbing, for taking in the feedback of the team and putting it in the system themselves. So you're giving the staff the possibility to communicate via the task bridge, but you're giving the accountability of the quality of the information and the cadence of the information in the system to the team leaders, to the PMO. So in other words, you're not trying to train the whole company how to use a software all in one go. You're just training a small group of people. And just so you know, the task bridge, and I'm going to ask Stuart to confirm this for me as we start pushing some tasks to him. The task bridge, he's never seen it before, but my goal is that he's going to be able to use it today and understand it within 3 minutes just by receiving the email. So when we tell our clients that are interested in this that we can train the majority of their team in less than 5 minutes, and they think, wait, that's crazy, how is that possible? This is what we're talking about. We're talking about, well, you need a couple of people to use the software well, and it takes a couple hours training with a guide if you want to, as long as you want to concentrate. And the rest of the company just needs to have a look at a quick job aid and be ready to start answering push emails that they receive. So how does this look? When you push somebody an email, they click on the email and they land on what we call the Task Connect two-way feedback portal. So you can see this one came to me. There's myself right there. And these are 4 tasks I'm being asked to comment on. So I can see there's task number 1. It's asking me for status. All good, not sure, need more time, and comments. So and there's the status. You can see it's at risk. It's yellow. There's the due date. And you can also say, please call me if you want your manager or the project manager to call you, or please set up a meeting. We need to talk about this. So what you're getting here, you're giving people the possibility to give their feedback on their terms, on their time, because they're going to receive an email and they're going to be able to just go click there and give this. And all of this is being tracked, and you'll see how this is tracked. So later you can go back to a team and say, hey, we've been pushing you emails for the last 3 months and nobody's responding. So we've done our job. We're waiting for you to come back on this. And the statistics are there. And what I've been doing now, this has been out now for at least 7 or 8 months. And what I do when I start every meeting with a client, if I'm servicing their PMO team, we go straight to the statistics and we see how many people have received these mails, how many people have responded to these mails, and immediately the people in the call that aren't reacting to their emails, it's obvious, and of course they have to answer why. And what you do is you see the performance just naturally goes in the right direction because you're approaching the situation from a non-confrontational transparency point of view as a PMO. Because as you know, most PMOs, most project managers, they don't have the people that are reporting to them don't report to them directly. So they have to be very diplomatic in the way they ask for their time and they ask for their level of quality. So this is what we're about to test. You can see you got a status update, you got comments and observations, and you got request. You allow the receiver to request assistance. And this is what we're talking about. 5 minutes is all they need, because what happens? Presto sends them an email. They click on the link and they land on this survey portal. It's very similar to when somebody asks you to complete a survey. They send you a link. You go. You complete the survey. You may have never used the survey portal before, but minimal training is required. You figure it out, and this works, and this works very well, not just inside your company, but you can also use it with your vendors, with your clients. You can use it in an ad hoc event. You could send it to a client and say, hey, we're doing a project, we need your feedback, do you mind connecting with us through our survey feedback portal on a couple items? And again, you're not really asking any real commitment from anybody, but you're giving immense value, because at the end of the day, you're letting them answer when they want to answer. You're giving them structure, and you're giving them all the details they need to understand. And if they don't have the details they need, they're going to contact you. So, and by the way, this is mobile friendly. Stuart, when we push something to you, you feel free to use your phone if you want to answer directly. Just go straight in from your email, and it's going to take you to a screen that looks just like this. So what happens is when you're on the dashboard and somebody actually sends you a comment, you're going to get an alert message, and you're going to be able to go see that people are responding to your projects. And then by seeing who did it, you click on it, and you're going to go straight into the project and see what they did. And when you go into the project, there's my task list. I can see there's my colleague Deepa. She's given me some feedback on this task. She's given me some feedback on this task. And at the top, you can see the total number of notes that are in the projects. And when you go look at those notes, you're actually getting the summary of everything that everybody said. So again, this is a very useful way to let people give their feedback. You review the feedback, and then you tick the boxes. You decide if the project needs more support, if the task has been done correctly, if the documentation has been published in the way you want it to be published. So again, you're giving yourself as a business leader more control. You're inviting to your user group only the key people that you want to be doing this, but you're giving everybody in the company visibility into the projects that they're participating in. And as obviously as a leader, as a manager, you know when the right moment to bring somebody to the next level. And your goal is, as you become an expert on the dashboard, you want to invite your colleagues to become experts on the dashboard, or should I say your staff. So right now, Chris is on the line. He's managing multiple clients. He has some clients where he's got directors using the solution with up to maybe 100, 200 people underneath them that they're collecting information from. But the goal is obviously to once the directors become experts, to cascade it down. Let the team leaders start doing this, so the directors can just sit at the top of the company, go on the dashboard, and see where the statuses of things are. And of course, if they're concerned about something, they by all means, they can push a request to anybody in a project asking for an update. So let's do the demo simulation. Just checking time. Chris, did you want to add anything? We're at the halfway mark.
No problem at all. Carry on.
Okay. So just to give you an understanding of the workflow today. So this is how you can set up and launch meeting management with the solution. So you got step one, where you set up the meeting. And how do you set up a meeting? Well, if you remember our dashboard, what we have here you have processes. And what you want to do now, if I want to know what are those 5 processes on Samuel DuPont's team, so I open it up and I can see there they are. He's grouped them into macro, micro processes. Now, any meeting in a company that's recurring, that is actually a process. If you're governing, if you're chairing a monthly steering committee for a performance governance group of directors, that's a process. Your company is expecting you to perform that process in a disciplined way, in a consistent way every month. And if anything, they're expecting you to become more and more efficient at that process. They're expecting you to be able to train people how to do it if you're not there. So out of all these processes, what you can do, you can say, let's take a look at these 33 processes on engineering. And these are all the processes on engineering and the people that are underneath Mario. But here you can actually say, show me all of these processes that are just meetings. And you can see 3 of them are meetings. And I open them up, you can see Gemba walks and operational inspection. So he does monthly engineering Gemba walk, he does performance reviews, that's definitely a meeting, and he does coaching one-on-one mentorships. So let's go take a look at manufacturing for a second. You can see he's got 2 meetings. He's shop floor standard health and safety training, and he does weekly Gemba inspection. Now you saw on the dashboard the different types of meetings. So here's where you can go into your process and you can actually say, up here, and you can say what type of meeting it is. So here he's saying this is a training workshop. Here's our 5S weekly Gemba inspection. This is a Gemba walk and operational gathering. So today we're going to be working on Samuel's team, and we're going to talk about his monthly steer co with the C-suite. So this is the meeting we're going to be working on. We're going to be working on today. So let's go back to the workflow for a second before we actually do it. So basically, you're creating a process and you're creating an agenda. Step 2, you're adding document templates to that agenda. So one of the strongest features of Presto is that when you're in the system, when you're creating your processes, when you're creating projects, so you're not only digitizing the step-by-step checklist, or in some cases, standard work checklist, however you want to call it, but you're also linking any documents that support that process. And you can see here, I open this up. Now, with our monthly SteerCo meeting with the C-suite, we have a special document that we want to use for the meeting minutes. And you can see I have the word template there. And we have a special document that we use for the agenda. So we're sending out a PowerPoint agenda, or we'll probably save it in PDF before we send it. And we're sending out meeting minutes. And that's part of the process. So if I go back a step, you can see what are we doing? We're confirming the meeting. We're defining an agenda and objectives. We distribute pre-read materials. We confirm attendance, roles, and validate the agenda. We chair the meeting. We review meeting outcomes. We distribute the meeting minutes. We track action items, and we prepare for the next meeting. For those of you that are very observant, you can see we've already flagged at a step level where each step is in the PDCA, Plan, Do, Check, Act change cycle. Now, this is something for, I would say, more advanced users. You don't need to understand this immediately from day one, but it's not very hard to learn, even at a big level in a company. And once you start thinking of everything as in these 5 phases, you start approaching work in a different way. So you can see here, there's our monthly SteerCo meeting. There's the name. That's the process description. There's the description of this actual checklist. These are the people we've set up in the RACI matrix. So these are the people that are actually responsible to get these things done. There's our accountable, and that's Samuel. These are people that we're expecting to help us if we need consultation. And of course, these are people that are going to be kept informed, which one of the person is on the board of directors for the company. So what you can do, I'm not going to go too much into this, but since we're doing the demo today, so I can go step by step and I can say, confirm the meeting. I come in here and you can see there's me when I used to have hair as the responsible party. And there's Samuel, he's accountable. So we're putting that in there. What about define the agenda and the objectives? There's me again. So you can see in this case, I'm acting as the company PMO. Distribute pre-read materials. That's going to be me again. So I'm going to put myself in there. Samuel is going to make himself accountable unless he assigns this to somebody else. And And then we got confirm attendance, roles, and validate agenda. So here's where we're going to send our first push email. And you can see I've already done my homework. Stuart, there you are. And basically we're going to ask you in the agenda, we're going to send the agenda out to you. We're going to say confirm the attendance, roles, validate agenda. And here we're saying ensure all key stakeholders confirm attendance and understand their roles during the meeting, prepare contingency if critical members are unavailable. These gentlemen here signed up for the webinar, but I don't think they're with us. If either you gentlemen are in the call, maybe you want to let me know, because I could send this out to you. I'm going to stop for a second. Is there anybody else in the webinar that signed up and they wanted to be a user today, and they said they were going to be a user? Because there's a couple of people already set up in the system. In fact, what I'll show you right now, if we take a look at the contacts panel, and this is how you track people's usage. Very important when you're having meetings with people, getting them to use the system the way you want. And if I take a look at the license report, you can see here, these are all people in the company that have licenses. And actually, let me just go look at the license report on Samuel's team. So I'm going to click on those 38 people. It takes us to the contacts panel. And from the contacts panel, these are all people with licenses. So these are people that signed up for this webinar that said they wanted to participate. Stuart, there's you. But I see a couple other people that we put into the system. Joshua Sang, Coyote, Pedro Torres, Sridevi, Palepu, Stuart, and Sumit Vivedi. Sorry if I don't pronounce it. Are any of these people on the call right now? Because if you are, you're going to be part of the experience if you want it. You don't have to be. Okay, nobody's speaking up. So anyway, so what you're going to see, just keep in mind that what you see here, you're looking at a user report that's completely clean right now. So now what we're going to do, let's go back into the system. Let's go look at the workflow some more. So we're going to launch a meeting. So that means we're going to schedule a meeting. We're going to add documents. We're going to send out the agenda. We're going to send out a request. We're going to then chair the meeting. So now the meeting's taken place. In other words, you, the PMO, you're driving the meeting. And during that meeting, going back to what I said at the beginning, what you really want to do is what you're being paid for is capturing takeaways and getting people to agree to commit to those takeaways. And the better you are at that, the more you're going to be appreciated by senior management as a PMO, as a business leader, getting your company to focus on committing to change. And then finally, step 5, follow up. You want to send minutes, request additional feedback, and archive the meeting. So for those of you that are already Presto users, we have our new showroom that we're now publishing. Some of you might already have it. Everything you see in today's, in these 5 steps here can be accessed in our training showroom in section for steps 1 and 2, in section 2 over there, for steps 3, 4, and 5 in section 3 under PMO activity and task management. And of course, so we'll send this to you if you haven't already found it yourself. So setting up the agenda, here we are, create the process, create the agenda. So we kind of already did this, but here we are. And actually, we got 5 processes. We're going to be looking at the monthly steer code with the C-suite. There's our agenda. And there's the step-by-steps. And as you saw earlier, we've actually put we've put some people in the RACI matrix. And you'll see why this is important in a second. So at this point in time, what we're going to do, this is just a recap of what I just showed you, how you can see your checklist directly from your process dashboard, setting up your RACI matrix at the high level, setting up your RACI matrix at the step level. And what you're doing is you're digitizing your company. You're capturing a process and you're making it available to everybody. If tomorrow you win the lottery, you decide you don't want to go into work, the next person that takes over for you is going to already know your job, hopefully up to 80%, because you've got the structure of your processes are there for everybody to just easily transition from one role to the next. Step 2, add template documents. So this is, in my opinion, one of the biggest time savers and one of the biggest risk reducers that this product offers. So if you come here now, you can see here we are looking at the meeting steer code with the C-suite. And now what you have here is you have the documents that I showed you, a Word document for the minutes and a PowerPoint document for the actual agenda. So keeping that in mind, what you want to do, and there's a another recap of it. Now you want to send out the agenda. So here we are. We want to schedule a meeting, we want to add the materials, we want to send out the agenda and request feedback. So up until now, everything we've done, and this is it never fails to amaze me how many companies need a little bit of a push to understand that everything you've seen up to now is just what the company does. It's kind of like the portfolio of activities. It's why you get paid, but none of this is actually live stuff. Everything on the PDCA dashboard, however, this is live stuff. So I'm going to go run a filter just to clean things up a bit. I'm going to say, just show me everything that was booked today. And you'll see it. So I already put a few things on here. I'm going to come back here. Let me remove this for a second and show you. Okay, let's have a look at the meetings in this company. So you can see we got a bunch of things. So we have team meetings. You can see we have daily team huddles in manufacturing. What else do we have? We have performance review and coaching, mentoring. So you can see we got a couple things going on in Samuel's office, in sales and marketing, in corporate IT and HR. Training workshops. You can see we got shop floor standard health and safety training. And we got, this is where we're going to be focusing today, leadership and executive meetings. So what we're going to do, and here's where we got a bunch of information already in there. We're doing the monthly steer call with the C-suite. So I click on that and you can see now, again, this is a demo version. So it might be a little bit misaligned to the reality of things, but you can see we've been using this now for the last 3 weeks. So you can see you got the last 3 agendas in here. 2 of them are already closed. 1 of them is green, it's still open. You can see how many documents have been, attachments are in there. So if I click on this button here, I get everything on the dashboard. So I open this up and you can see immediately we got our open agenda. So we got the 18 September monthly steer call meeting. It's in the act phase. And if you want to see what's going on there, I'm going to open it up. And there's our checklist that you saw from the process earlier. You can see we've got through everything, but now in the last step, prepare for next team meeting. So at this point in time, I'll leave it open for now. What we're going to do now, we're going to create a new one. And you can see these are all open action items that are linked to this meeting agenda that we've flagged. And if I were to just go click on one of the action items, you can see I open it up. We have an action item here, and immediately I see this number 1 here is telling me it's linked to a meeting. It's also telling me it's linked to some assets. We're not going to go into that right now, but Presto is also an asset management solution, allowing you to capture activities, issues, projects, and link them to assets. So then you can filter your dashboard by assets. We could be talking about laptops. We could be talking about vehicles or machinery or whatnot. You can also link any activity on the dashboard to your clients. Now I see that number 1, I'm curious, what client is it linked to? I can see it's linked to Amazon in the UAE. So this activity here is actually linked to that client. So if I want to give me a list of all my outstanding action items that are linked to Amazon in Dubai, I'll get that filter. But again, we're talking about meetings today. So I click on this guy and you can see it's linked to our monthly steer call C-suite. Now these are all, what you see here, these are all meetings that we've identified in the process catalog. And if I wanted, for example, if I wanted to say, for example, this is also linked to our quarterly management report, I just go drag and drop that in there. And now this activity is linked to that meeting as well. And it's going to be in the to-do list. So this now is allowing you to really start your meetings and finish your meetings with action-oriented discussions. In fact, in my meeting agenda, if I open it up, so let's take a look at my meeting agenda. You can see here, there's my monthly, my minutes. Here's my meeting agenda. I click on it. In every document you put in there, you put it to a link to wherever your SharePoint is. Your SharePoint points to your documents, your links point to your SharePoint, and now I can come here and say, this was the meeting agenda for the 13th of September. These were the people in the agenda, and this is how the meeting went. So again, you as a business leader, you can, if you go on holiday for a month, you can come back and say, let's go take a look at the meeting agenda. Let's also go take a look at the minutes for this on the 18th. And I click on that. And actually, before I click on it, what you'll see here, here's where you set up your document. You say the type of document it is, you name the document, and you put the link to your shared file. in the bottom. That's what you see at the bottom of this. So then when you click on this, show me the minutes from the 18th, I open it up and I'm immediately going to my SharePoint where the document is being held. Now, the huge value you get from this, and I see this immediately when clients start using this, the huge value you get from this is you're no longer trying to have people upload documents to emails, but you're also no longer telling people that they have to memorize where documents are being saved. There's one document owner, they put the link in the place so anybody that needs that document can access it. Now, obviously, when you start using this, you have to have good, meaningful discussion with your security team to make sure that certain people have read-only access to certain folders, certain people can't access certain folders and whatnot, but that should be being done anyway. So, but immediately you're going to notice people are going to have this very good visibility to all the documents you want them to be using. So here we are. Let's set up the meeting and see if we can send it to Stuart for review. So, sorry, I'm going to say one more thing. So what you're setting up, as you chair your meeting, now you want to start asking people to give you feedback. And what you're going to do now, this is a sample of the push email. So I'm basically taking an agenda, I'm sending it to somebody directly from this panel here. So if I open up this agenda, I'm going to come here. And the first thing I'm going to do, actually, let me go to this task over here so you can see prepare for next meeting. And I can see based on the feedback and outcomes, adjust the agenda and begin to plan for next week. Now let's imagine that I want Stuart to give me some feedback on this. Stuart, you still with us?
Yep.
All right, thank you.
Yummy.
So what I can do now, I can just take this one task and I can send it to him. In fact, actually, so I click on this and you can see, choose a sender. Now I could have it just go into my email service. I could have it go into Outlook, this information, but instead we're going to say, no, let's let Presto send it a nice packaged up email. So I'm going to send it to him, and that's me. That's actually Samuel, but I logged in as Samuel and I have my own email address. And I'm going to say, hey, Stuart, please give an update on this. Okay, so let's see if this works. Thanks, Samuel. So now I click the send button. So now, Stuart, you should be getting an email that is going to tell you about this task. Actually, and it should be immediate. I know these.
Yep.
Okay, so you want to share your screen? If you don't want to, I can do it myself because your email should look something like this.
Okay, yeah, you're sharing it. Sorry, because I'm on it.
Okay, so Stuart, you got an email that it should look, if you open it up in your browser, it should look just like this. If you open up in Outlook, there might be a bit of a design discrepancy, but you can see we're sending to Stuart. You can see Samuel has pushed this to you. Hey, Stuart, can you please give an update on this? Question mark. Thanks, Samuel. And there it is. Prepare for next meeting. There's the name of the task. There's the due date. There's the status. And then this is all a bunch of other information that you would find in this project. So here we are looking at the task list. You got the description of the projects. You got the due dates and all kinds of other stuff. Now you can see if I come here to my notes panel, I can see there's me, Samuel. There's the send tag, an email, and I sent it to both of us. Samuel has pushed this email to you. There's my message to him. Hey, Stuart, can you please give me an update on this, Samuel? So, and I can see up here already, I got 2 notes. Now, Stuart, would you mind sharing your screen? Or?
Yeah, I can't actually open it up for some reason, my browser. So it's kind of just...
okay, no issues. I'll do it. No issues. So as long as you confirm for me you're seeing everything I'm seeing, I think we've done a good job. So anyway, we've sent Stuart a mail. So now the next thing he's going to do, he's going to click on this send update. He's going to give us an update. Now I'm going to click on it, and when I click on it, I see myself. There's me. Now, Stuart, if you click on it, you should see you over here, right?
Yeah, it's coming up.
Now I'm going to answer on behalf of Samuel. I'm going to say prepare for next meeting. I'm going to say all good. I'm going to say yes. We may want to add a special breakfast order for next week's meeting. So he's putting a comment. Yes, a comment that's not life threatening, but it's something that definitely adds value, and we want to capture it. So I'm going to send that. Stuart, are you in a position to send a comment? You can make up ever your imagination provides.
And then I just send status update. Is that correct?
Yep. So right now we're off this format here, the way we've set it up for you. We're set up, you either say it's everything's all good, you're not sure, need more time, comments, and then overall comments. And of course, you're commenting what you see here, but you can see this, prepare for the next meeting. There's the description. So your goal now is to make those checklists, make your agenda as granular and as rich as possible. So that's the last time you're ever going to have to type something out and ask somebody an email about this, because they're just going to be seeing this. It's going to be completely clear what you're asking somebody to do. Actually, I don't even need to ask Stuart, because if he sent it already, I'm going to know. Now, I see some alert messages coming in.
Yes, thanks for your feedback. So it should have come
Very
through.
good. Very good. So, you know what? I didn't set up the alerts for this one. Okay, that's all right. But anyway, I'm going to open this up now, and you'll see. Open this up again, and now I say I got 4 notes there. And there's Stuart. He's sent me a response. It's tagged a response. He's saying, need to compliment the team for a good job last week. Thank you very much, Stuart. So what you're getting now is you're getting this two-way feedback bridge between managers and staff. And of course, managers are giving staff what they need to know and giving them the time to answer in a way that they can sit down, give you what, come back to you, and then the manager is going to come and review that. So again, now what if you send this out to a team of 10 people that are in the meeting, you're going to be looking at all these nice comments, and that's going to be up to you to decide how to close these things, how to go forward with the company. Again, the difference between our solution and a typical project management solution is we just want a few people using the solution as managers, and we want the whole company using the solution as feeders, as contributors. And of course, go after during the training, go after the people that are early adopters, go after the go-getters and get them using the solution where you think it's necessary. But let's go back to this. So here's how I like to start my meetings now when I do PMO governance. I'm going to come here and I'm going to say, well, taking a look, and I can see Stuart has in the last this is interesting. I was expecting to see so here's the email report, excuse me. So I can see Stuart has received, in the last 30 days, he's received 1 push email. That's what I just pushed him. And we also have it in the last 7 days. 2 good ways to see who's working good on a monthly basis, who's working good on a weekly basis. Because the people that are doing good in the last 7 days, those are your real users. The ones that are sporadically in the last 30 days, you might want to approach in a different way from a training point of view. Number of responses made, I can see Stuart has responded once in the last 3 days, responded once in the last 7 days. So now think about it. If Stuart was just sleeping on the job for the whole month, I would send him a couple pushes a couple times, and I would see my numbers here. We would see Stuart's received a bunch of push emails, but he hasn't responded. And it's a very non-confrontational discussion to have when you're having team meetings, when you're having PMO directors meetings, is why are you guys not responding? And the response could be, and I've seen this before myself just in the last few weeks, especially when I'm working with a team in India, we even have some language issues sometimes. And we say, yeah, I didn't really understand what you meant by that. So opens up opportunities to get the project manager to be more focused on his or her communication style. But anyway, I know time is short and I really want you to see something important. So let's book a meeting. Now, starting from here, what we're going to do, let's book a new, let's set up the agenda for next month. So this time around, again, I'm going to set this up for, today's the 25th. Let's set this up for next Wednesday, even though it's a monthly meeting. So what I'll do, I'm going to click on the work order and I'm going to assign it to Samuel's team. And I'm going to assign it to a 1-step standard work Kanban board. And I'm going to save that. So now what it's doing, you're creating a new checklist. Now we've set this up to be super simple where there's nothing in here. And I'm going to click on this button and I'm going to go straight to my my checklist portfolio. So do you want to import a checklist template? So I come here. Now, here's all the checklists in the company that are available to the public in the company, I mean. And here's all my checklists. And of course, right now, Samuel only has one checklist that's out there. And here it is. It's the monthly Steerco committee meeting, 9 steps. So I'm going to import that now. So now you can see when I import this, you sure you want to delete existing checklists? I click yes. And now immediately we've configured this so that the name of your project becomes the date monthly Steerco. So that's why you're going to be keeping all your meetings nice and organized, military block style, so that they're always in the same format. And they all look nice when you stack them up one over another. That's how, when you saw on the right side, all my meetings were all named the same. The only difference was the date based on this numeric. You're keeping yourself organized. But let's talk about something else. Let's go into the Zoom panel of the meeting. And you can see I got 2 templates. Here they are. Now, what I want to do is, these are the templates for my minutes. But I want to take those minutes, I want to take that agenda, I want to save it and create a new document. So I'm going to clone. Now you can see here, notice how in the media bucket, that number 0. So I'm going to say clone that and put that date in the front. That becomes 1. Same thing for the agenda, clone that, and now it's 2. So now what I've got here, I got 2 new documents. And the next thing you do is you open up the document, or you can click on the template. The easiest way to get this done, you click on the template, and what you do is, when it opens up, you save it, create a copy. So you download a copy. I believe this is gonna, so I download a copy, there it is. And now what I'll do is I'll open it up in Word, and I'm gonna save it, my new minutes copy. So I'm gonna save this for October 7, I believe it is, or whatever the next Wednesday is. So I come here, enable editing. So now I'm going to save this document just for, I would go into whatever folder that would be. And let's just I'm just going to put it on my desktop to save us time. So I'm saving this document. I'm going to save it the name that I want it to be. And so you're saving it in your folder of minutes. And notice how we use OneDrive in this company. Some people use SharePoint. Some people use Dropbox. So I can see here, shortly, I'm going to see, there's my new document, meeting minutes. What do? I copy the link to the document. So copying the link to the document. And now I go back into my project, or my meeting agenda, I should say. Go back to the meeting agenda. And here it is. And now I'm going to open this up again. And this time I'm going to put in this field here, I paste the link. So now what that means is this is my new meeting in its agenda. And now what I'm going to do, the meeting's been confirmed, and I'm going to define the agenda and objectives, which we're pretty satisfied. There's our agenda. It's not going to change this week. It didn't change last week. It's standard agenda. Excellent. We have it here. You save the document the way it's supposed to be. So we've confirmed the agenda. And now what I'm going to do, I want to go out to the team, distribute the pre-read material. So this is a super win that you get by using this methodology, because now you're easily sending everything out to the team. Now you can see this step here, Stuart's already the responsible party and a couple other gentlemen. There's me as the accountable party. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to send the whole meeting agenda out to the whole team. So I'm going to click on that again. I click on this. These are all the people that are in that ratio matrix. There's Stuart. There's me, there's Samuel. And now I'm going to say, hi, everyone. Meeting is scheduled for next week. Please review materials. So now I'm going to do one more, Andrew. So I'm going to do one more push, Stuart. Now this time around, what he's going to see, the first time I did it, I pushed it at the task level. This time I pushed it at the whole agenda, the project level. So now what Stuart's going to see, hopefully you can confirm this, here it is. And now you can see monthly meeting steering committee for the 25th of we forgot to change the date. It's okay. The there's me. Hi, everyone. Meeting is scheduled for next week. Please review the material. So here's your actual agenda, but here's the links to the documents. So Stuart, you should be able to click on that link and go straight to the meeting agenda, as well as the meeting minutes that have already been set up, even though we haven't had the meeting yet.
Yep.
Did you receive something like this, Stuart?
Yep, I think it's just opening up on another screen.
And again, what I can do now, I can look at this and I can say, you know what, if I receive this, Stuart can do the same. Obviously, he's gonna look at this. There's all the tasks that are in the agenda that are open, and he's gonna say distribute pre-read materials. He might look at this and say, not sure. Are you sure you don't want to discuss the shared drive migration issue? And then he's gonna put that there, and he's just gonna send that to the team, to the PMO agenda manager, saying, I saw your agenda and I'm not so sure it's what it should be. But what you're doing now, you're completely, and I've seen this already, just in the short few weeks I started using this with the clients where I'm working as a PMO. It's just, you're immediately, when you do this, even you're really sending out the agenda 1 week in advance instead of the day before, and you're asking for feedback. I'm going to come in here. I open this up. There's here's our steerco meetings. There we are. Now that number's changed to 7. Here's my new one. Again, I forgot to put the number on it, the 25th. But you can see I've sent that out. Stuart, how'd you do with the email? Did you receive the one? Did you receive one that looked like that? Okay. So obviously you didn't respond, but if he did, you can see here, I'm starting to get all the responses. And again, this is now teaching your company that if they're invited to a recurring meeting, it's not only their responsibility to show up to the meeting, it's their responsibility to review the agenda, give feedback on it. And of course, it works even more effectively when you send them the minutes after the meeting. Say, guys, here are the minutes. Please send me a confirmation that you've read them. And again, if people are out of the office, you can put a special, let's imagine that Stuart was out of the office this week and I want to make special note to make sure he reads the minutes. I'm going to say, Stuart, please, Stuart, read minutes. We'll come here. I'm going to zoom into that task and I'm going to give this to Stuart as a responsible party. So now we know we're not going to close this agenda until Stuart reads the minutes. So anyway,
I gave my feedback on the previous ones. I'm just had to relaunch Outlook again, but I'll get your minutes soon.
No, just to say thank you for everyone for coming, and yeah, please don't hesitate to get in touch if you'd like to find out some more information.
Okay, thank you very much, everyone.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much.